Hello everyone, welcome to Ravencraft Magic. This is a special episode featuring music from Anilah. Check it out. Alright, welcome everyone to the Goddesses of the Norse series, episode 2. In this episode, I'm going to go over Frigga, the goddess of love and wisdom, and one of her 12 maidens, Air. Now, it is said that Frigga has 12 maidens that aid and assist her with the healing and a lot of other tasks. And the first one I'm going to introduce of the 12 maidens is Air, the goddess of healing and mercy. But first, let's go back to Frigga, the goddess of wisdom, love, and magic. Now, Frigga is the wife of Odin, so this is why I consider her the goddess of wisdom. It said that Frigga knows all fates, so she knows the time of your death and how you're going to die. But it also states that she tells no one. She knows all fates, but tells nobody. So, she kind of calms you and relaxes you and says, hey, you're gonna die anyways, let me heal you, let me rest you. She's considered a goddess of healing as well, but as restful healing. Now, the goddess Freyja is also considered to be maybe a connection to Frigga and Freya. Back in the ancient times, they were considered one, but now I found a really good explanation of the two. Now, Frigga, like I said, is more of a restful healer. She uses herbal magic, medicine, stuff like that. Now, where Freya, her healing aspect is the more active healing, like exercise, fighting, battle, also sex. She is the goddess of the more active type of healing, and that is kind of the difference between Frigga and Freya. Now, Frigga was also the mother of Balder, and Balder was the son of Odin, and he was killed in a story by one of his other brothers and the assistance of Loki. And she suffers a great loss from this and loses her son, and for that she is known to help mothers who grieve and people who are stricken with sadness. She can help you with that as well. Fensalir is the name of the hall that Frigga resides in, and it is referred to as the hall in the marshes. And the forest and the birch tree is also associated with Frigga. It represents the growth of the mind and the body, and the ability to expand our awareness and learn new things. That's why I believe she is associated with magic as well. She was always experimenting and learning and expanding her wisdom. And also, the birch tree represents the roots. Now, the roots of the tree is your history and your family and where you came from. And I believe that is a representation of Frigga as well. The colors that I like to associate with Frigga are light blue and white. And when you need help with housekeeping or getting things done with the family or caring, or even if you are pregnant, you can call on help or aid from Frigga. She is the caring mother of all families. Alright, one of my favorite goddesses, she's not mentioned much, but air also means help or mercy, and she's a goddess also said to be one of Odin's maidens. Now, I think this means she can be associated with the Valkyrie. She is a healer as well. Maybe she's associated with going to the battlefield and picking up the injured and bringing them back and healing them. And this was the jobs of the Valkyrie, to bring the slain heroes to the hall of Odin or Freyja. Now, obviously, there was much need for healers and physicians in the Viking Age, as they were involved in much battle and sickness and things that they had to come across even while working. And Eir is considered the mender of the gods. She's the physician, the healer. It is also said that she had the healing hands. Now, women often took the roles of the healer and the physicians because it was said that they were unafraid to count the number of the dead, or unafraid to examine all the wounds from the bloody battles that they experienced. Eir used a type of craft called holistic healing. Now, holistic healing is the use of many methods, the use of herbs and plants, smudging, burning, aromatherapy. Also, it relates to shamanism and meditation, spiritual work, finding your center and working on breathing techniques and healing from the inside, healing your body through the uses and intakes of herbs and plants and other types of medicine. It is called green witchcraft. I recommend a book by Anne Mora called The Grimoires of the Green Witch. It's a very good book about this type of healing and witchcraft, and I recommend you read that if you're interested in this type of magic. Like you see here, you can make bundles or use dried herbs to burn, and a lot of plants have magical properties. Now, I give a lot of credit to the ancients. Now, how do you think they figured out how these herbs had effects? They had to try them out themselves or try them out on other people. So, it took a long time to figure out what these herbs did and how they affected people, and how you could use them. And I think each tribe or kindred kind of had a magical worker or witch that kept a record of these plants and herbs, and when to use them and how to use them. And she was the keeper of those secrets, and she was the one who knew how to heal the village or heal that tribe, and she passed that knowledge on to others, someone who she thought was capable or interested in taking care of the tribe. Now, there is a lot of other ways that the heathen witch helped the warriors as well. They could do spells and involve them in rituals to strengthen their courage and physical strength. Also, they can do things like warding or striking fear into the enemy. A lot of symbols and Galderstafir and runes were used on weapons and armor and shields to do these things, to strike fear into the enemy. Often the enemy would see these symbols and they didn't know what they meant, so it would strike fear into them. So, even some witches would get on the battlefield and fight hand-to-hand combat. They could use illusionary skills. They could use a lot of things to mess with their enemy's head and help the Vikings battle, or help their tribe battle, help them get the upper hand. And what's more distracting than a screaming, yelling, crazy-looking witch? And that was exactly their point. They wanted to distract you. And I think that's kind of why witches get that scary image. Sometimes they use that to their advantage to put fear or scare or mystify their enemies. For this reason, I believe the heathen witch, or the practice of witchcraft and healing, was very important in the Norse tribes, because obviously they needed aid in all ways, physically and spiritually. So there is many types of witchcraft, but holistic healing is what Eir specialized in. Now, for sure, some of the warriors needed inner spiritual healing. Kind of like the soldiers today have PTSD and all this trauma from seeing death and murder on the battlefield. They also need mental stability. Behind every Viking warrior there is a true heathen witch. Now, I have recently read a story about Eir the goddess possibly being the wife of the god Tyr, or mate of the god Tyr anyway. The Norse god Tyr was said to be the only one brave enough to put his hand in the mouth of the wolf Fenris, the great wolf of destruction, to be able to bound him. Fenris was said to be the offspring of Loki, and Tyr had to stick his hand in the mouth of this creature in order to get a rope or a binding around him. And once the creature found out he could not move, he ended up biting off Tyr's hand, and Tyr lost his hand for the greater good of binding the destruction of the world. And it is said he postponed Ragnarok by doing this. And obviously Tyr needed healing from his wounds, and it is said that Eir, the goddess, could have been the one that tended to his wounds and brought him back. So if you're looking to work with healing, shamanism, or meditation, Eir is the goddess you want to try to call and work with. That brings this episode to an end. Like I said before, Frigga has 12 maidens that aid and assist her in the stories of Norse mythology, and I encourage you to do some reading and research about them. I recommend picking up a book called Essential Asatru by Diana Paxson. It has a lot about the Norse gods and goddesses and a little bit more about the 12 maidens. Alright, well, I hope this episode helped learn a little bit more about a couple more of the Norse goddesses. I hope you all have a good week and weekend. Stay on the positive path. Keep researching, keep learning, and I will see you next time. Thanks.